world, 2015. Now, this crossing is just around the corner before 2020, says the report. These two age groups will then continue to grow in opposite directions. It says by 2050, the proportion of the population 65 and older, currently at 15.6%, will be more than double that of children under the age of 5. This unique demographic phenomenon of the crossing is unprecedented, says the Census Bureau. And right now, we do not fully understand how that can affect socio and economic and political stature around the globe. We don't know how that's going to affect. I mean, because look, as nations get older, will it and birth rates drop? Will they be more open to doing what a lot of European nations are open to, inviting people who do not see the world the same way that they do into their midst because they need to keep their population growing? Look, but they're taking them from the wrong places. I don't see Europe, asking Indians from India and Chinese come in. No, they're allowing the Muslims, radical Muslims that want to kill them, maim them, rape them, beat them, play with their kids, pedophile, all that kind of stuff. Radicalization, but we need the population for growth and for jobs and blah. Is it worth it though? Especially in some of these nations where they're trying to lower the age of retirement. What is it now in France? Like 60 and a half or something you can retire? Here in the U.S., where they're trying to raise it, what are they? They're trying to get it up to 70, right? Retirement, 70. Well, if you're living longer, I mean, can you think about it, you retire at 65 and you live for another 30 years? I mean, let's face it, it used to be you retired at 65 and you were dead by 72. So 6 or 7 years, not even a decade in retirement is what pretty much was expected. But now you can live 20, 30 years, 65 to 90, 95. I mean, really? My parents, well, not my parents, my mother now. She's the only one parent surviving. Her neighbor. Her neighbor what did she, Ann Barber is her name. I think she just turned 99. Look, I am definitely not dumping on old people. I think it's great, actually. I think it's great that human beings are living longer and they're living healthier longer. And part of the reason that we have some of the commercials that we see on TV is and some of the medical science is going in certain directions simply because people are living longer, but they're also living healthier longer, which means they don't need chemical drugs as often. And we're seeing these drugs coming out, being advertised and being promoted for even the slightest of symptoms. Don't change your diet a little bit. Just take this pill, right? I know we get that a lot. I've seen it over and over again. I'm going to tell you one thing about drugs, though. Watching all these drug commercials, if there's one thing that is going to motivate me to keep me healthy, is for as long as possible, is watching these drug commercials. And I know some people think, well, Rod, they can relieve this symptom or cure that disease or relieve that disease, and you can live almost a normal life even if you have those things. I said, yeah, but have you listened to the side effects? 90% of them, a major side effect is, it causes death. Can cause death. Really? So, one of you have a skin condition, rosacea or something, and you take this pill to try to correct it or reverse it. And of course, it doesn't cure it. So you got to keep taking the pill for one. It doesn't cure it. It just treats it So if you stop taking it, it comes back. But one of the side effects, some of these drugs is, internal bleeding that sometimes, in rare cases, can be fatal and lead to death. So you want to get rid of the redness in your face, but you don't want to end up being pale, that pale, death pale, vampire pale, without being a vampire. I'm just, with zombie pale, I guess. I don't know. That would be zombie green, right? Aren't zombies supposed to be green? I don't know. I don't watch a lot of zombie stuff. But speaking of, I was watching a program late last night on Netflix. And again, if it was on Netflix, I wouldn't have even bothered. But it's a movie. I only got through half of it because I just thought it was just too... starring Harold Rollins. The title of it was, He Never Died. And it looks like he was possibly because there's a shot of his back. Looked like he had wings, and his wings were cut off, like he's a fallen angel. It really kind of strange, and he really had very little emotion. It was so odd. I just couldn't. But it was glorifying some of this evil stuff again, I guess. Kind of like Lucifer, humanizing. I'm intrigued by that program. It's not that I just want to see how far they're willing to take this humanizing of Satan. At one point he gets really humanizing, but he keeps, he just will not. His Father in heaven, God, in other words, just he hates him, loathes God. I don't know if does that come across in the Bible? Is Lucifer hating his father like that? But he just won't, no matter what. But anyway, yeah. So this whole notion about people aging but living longer, and living healthier longer, is not good news for drug companies. By the way, it really isn't. There is evidence that, at least here in the West, the East has pretty much always been there. But how to use natural things and diet and exercise to extend your healthy years. And again, this is not something drug companies like or want, which is why they're now creating drugs and repurposing old drugs for all kinds of, look, certain drugs before were only used for certain things, and now they're using, hey, you can use this drug to cure your baldness now, type of thing. Like, really? What? So don't fall for any of this stuff, folks. I'm just saying, don't fall. If you really need it in order to live and survive, okay, great, drugs can be good, but understand that most drugs don't cure a damn thing. We always complain about and talk about things like this new heroin epidemic. Well, we're conditioned, because I've always asked, how do people get roped into and trapped into the illicit drug trade? Well, frankly, honestly, and I'm always as honest as I can possibly be with my listeners. The honest truth is that each and every one of us is programmed to accept addiction. What are you talking about? Nobody accepts heroin. Oh yeah, we do. We fully accept it. We accept the fact that our drug companies create medicine, as we call it, that gets us hooked on that particular drug, to the point where we cannot live without it. If we stop taking this high blood pressure pill, what happens? We most likely die of high blood pressure related problems. You have an aneurysm or heart attack or a stroke or something, right? Yeah. So you got to keep taking the pill. You're hooked on it. Your body depends on it. Your body no longer produces, which is why a lot of times people have to increase their dosage, because your body no longer produces its own natural counters to whatever ailment that you have. People with diabetes, that's a big one. One of the things is that people walk around and say, I didn't know I had diabetes. Doctor says I could have had diabetes for the last, 5 years. I didn't feel it, didn't notice it. Then they start taking insulin, and all of a sudden they feel it. Because you start introducing these chemical forms into your body, and your body starts saying, well, I don't need to produce my own. And you end up getting worse, but you're hooked on it. You can't get off of it. So we're conditioned, believe it or not, to be drugged 24/7. We are, the American people are conditioned now to be drugged. So when people are asking how is it that we're experiencing this rise in certain illicit drugs like heroin or crack or something, look, we're already conditioned from day one to accept it. Now, I know some people will be saying, well, Rod, that's not true. We don't, those are drugs that people need that to live. Really? Do we actually? Really? I mean, do we really need all the drugs that are being marketed and advertised that we see on TV and in magazines? Really? You don't think hey, don't do anything natural to try to improve if you have erectile dysfunction issues. I mean, let's face it. Men have been virile into their 60s, 70s, and 80s for centuries. But today, all of a sudden, guys they can't get it up and keep it up. Why? Why? So we're not going to try to look at the reason why and change the reason why. We're just going to take a pill. You're conditioned to take a pill. And then you complain when that pill costs an arm and a leg. Well, how about you don't take the pill and you use something different or do something different? No, I don't have time for that, Rod. This will work. This always works, and then you get hooked on it. You ignore the side effects. Well, that always happens to somebody else until, of course, it happens to you. But remember, when you say that only happens to somebody else, you're the somebody else. Did you get that? Yeah, probably not. But those of you who are smart enough to get it will get it. CBS Boston. This is in my own backyard, folks. And this is not. This is a disturbing trend, I must say. What we have coming up is a very disturbing trend. The head and hands are severed from the Virgin Mary statue outside the Billerica Church. Yeah, can I take a... Yeah, it's one of those things again, folks. Pronunciation is everything. Not spelling, pronunciation. It's not Billerica, it's Billerica. Billerica for most people. Billerica or Billerica. Not... it's yeah. Billerica. Billerica is how it's commonly pronounced here in Massachusetts and in New England. Not Billerica or Billerica. It's Billerica. Get it? The E silent. Yeah, I know. It doesn't make any sense. It's like Bedford is not Bedford, it's Bedford. Yeah, Bedford. Don't say Bedford because nobody knows where it is. It's not Haverhill, it's Haverhill. It's not Billerica or Billerica, it's never mind, you get it. Billerica Church has experienced some vandalism. The head and hands of a Virgin Mary statue outside the church were removed, leading police to look for possible connections to similar recent incidents throughout the region. In other words, somebody's not liking Christian statuary. Now, the big thing is people are really upset by it, but you got to be careful. People who worship these idols, God says you shouldn't do that. But at the same time, this is just plain vandalism. You got to wonder who's doing it and why. I've got some possibilities.